All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to our third year of Coffee with Commissioners. We are live streaming today, just so everyone is aware. If you need to go in the restroom and tidy up a little bit. I was talking to you.
Oh, okay, I'll excuse myself.
Anyway, I'm Mike Timlin. I'm one of the commissioners. To my left, your right, is Jill Crawford, another commissioner, and to my right, your left, is Sabrina Christian Bennett. I'd like to introduce our staff today. We have Cassidy. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Our clerk.
Cassidy is our clerk, and she does an outstanding job for us. Next to her, running the camera, Sam. Sam's with our IT department. He does an outstanding job for us and for the county. Also today is Dave McIntyre, our dog warden, is present. And our county administrator, Michelle Crompton, is with us today as well. The purpose is to allow an open forum here for the interested citizens of the county to learn more about the county government, county projects, and to ask us questions. Also gives the opportunity to provide information on county programs that the public may or may not be aware of. Are there any questions before our conversation on this end begins? Anybody have something on the tip of their tongue that they want to ask so they don't forget it? Okay, appreciate that. We'll all be speaking on different topics, and if there's any questions at all that come up, don't hesitate to ask. Today we're going to start with Commissioner Crawford, and she's going to discuss the roles of a county commissioner and a short property tax update. Does that still right for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're up.
All right. Well, thank you for coming out today. I am, as Commissioner Tinlin said, I'm Commissioner Crawford. I was elected in November of 2024, and I took office January 2025. So I just finished my first year as a commissioner, just entering my second year. I like to start off with just talking about what the roles and responsibilities of a commissioner are, just so we have a base of knowing what we do. By virtue of their titles, other elected officials, you can kind of tell what their duties are. The engineer, the sheriff, the auditor, but the county commissioner, what do they do? So just to give you some background on that. So I'll start off with our mission statement, and that is, as the principal executive organization of county government, the Board of Commissioners, along with its department, is committed both to providing efficient government and to promoting the welfare and strategic development of the Portage County community. So a very, very broad statement, but really the center of it is strategic development and promoting our community. So to start off with a little history, as we all know, there's 88 counties in the state of Ohio, and 86 of those counties are set up like Portage County is, and that's what the three-member Board of Commissioners. The other two counties are actually our neighbors, Summit County and Cuyahoga County, and they are charter governments, which means that they have a county executive. So sometimes when you're hearing the news, you might hear a county executive, just to know that that's kind of like their Board of Commissioners, but it's just one. So it's a little different, so just to keep that in mind. Of our three-member board, two of the commissioners are elected at the time of the presidential election, and the other is elected when the governor is elected. And that's good that we stagger those years for those, for the appointments for the elections, because generally you're always going to have one commissioner that's sitting on the board that has a couple years of experience. And as you'll see, we deal with a lot of different issues. So to have the background on issues that, they might be years to, get to a resolution or make a decision on some issues. So to have a sitting commissioner that has some of that background is really important. Each commissioner serves a 4-year term. And this is really important that any individual commissioners have no power to act independently. All formal and official actions must be taken by the Board of Commissioners as a whole, and it needs to be voted on and passed by either a majority vote or a unanimous vote. So either 2 of the 3 or unanimously. So you can come talk to any one of us, but us as an individual commissioner cannot make, cannot make a decision, a formal decision or action without the whole board. So that's important to keep in mind. Boards of county commissioners were created by the state legislature and can only perform functions authorized by law as defined in the Ohio Revised Code. And if you come to any of our meetings on Thursday mornings, generally Thursday mornings at 8 o'clock, or if you watch us live stream, we also live stream our weekly meetings, or read through our minutes. All of our minutes are posted on our website, but you'll see us refer to ORC, and that means the Ohio Revised Code, and that gives us the authority under which we act. The Board of County Commissioners, we play a significant broad role in attracting new businesses and industries to our local communities, as well as being involved in related planning tools such as infrastructure and tax incentives. So I'm going to go over the 4 main responsibilities of the Board of Commissioners. We are the general administrative body for county government. The first main responsibility is that we set the strategic direction and fiscal responsibilities for the county. The second, which goes hand in hand, we serve as the budgeting, taxing, appropriating, and purchasing authority for the county. Thirdly, we collaborate with the other elected officials, judges, and other agencies to ensure that each is properly funded to carry out their statutory duties. And lastly, the 4th one is that we hold title to all county property. So all the buildings, all the vehicles, everything, we hold title to that. So, an elected official can't say, hey, I want to go buy a building or I want to go construct a building. That needs to fall under the purview of the Board of Commissioners. So as you can tell, the functions of county government depend greatly on the actions and authority of the Board of Commissioners. This is also important too. The commissioners have no direct authority over other elected officials, but we are required to determine their funding and their funding levels for every office. That's why we need to have a general understanding of each of these county office holders so that we can allocate funds properly from the general fund. And the general fund is our main source of funding that supports county operations. And for our elected officials, pretty much all of them are funded by the general fund. The exception would be the engineer. We have what we call special revenue funds. He gets most of his funding, almost 100% of his funding from the motor vehicles tax. So he is not funded by the general fund. But the auditor, clerk of courts, coroner, prosecutor, recorder, sheriff, and treasurer, as well as all the judges, are funded by the general fund. So that's quite a bit of, quite a bit that we have to cover with the general fund. All right.
You want to tell them why we did what we did this year with the budget? Because I keep getting asked.
What we did. So our budget this year, in the past years we've had as we come out of COVID funding, we had COVID dollars that we're still running through. So this year, we had to take a look at the budget and we had to tell people, hey, we needed to keep our budget flat. We asked people to keep their budgets flat. Property taxes are on the horizon. We all know that that's a hot topic right now. And we asked people to, look at their budgets, keep them pretty even with last year. And, just not knowing what the future holds, we also need to, make sure that we're looking to, we have major repairs and maintenance. We have contingency items that are not part of the budget that we would have to fund. We're responsible for, as we said, we're not responsible for other elected officials and carrying out their duties, but anytime that there could be any litigation, we pretty much have to fund anything that would result out of that. So if there's anything you wanted to add, Mike?
Yeah, as Commissioner Crawford said, our budget is relatively tight now. The ARPA money was a double-edged sword. We were able to do things and especially address deferred maintenance on buildings that we probably would have never seen to be able to do what we did in all 3 of our tenures as commissioners. One of the things that we did have to do was we had to take a look in order to balance the budget because we had a shortfall. We had to take a look at all of the expenses across the departments that were general funded. And we had to take a look and reduce the health benefits for what's more in line historically for what they use, because a lot of times that's where the departments will pad money at, which is nice for them if it changes, but the bad part is it's not good at the end of the year when they turn money back into us, because that's money we could have used throughout the year. So we're bringing it more in line as to the historical values and the data referring, but keeping in mind, if they do need more money, we have to be prepared to fund that. The other thing we did is we did 2 health benefit holidays, and what that is we have a health benefit account that accumulates each year, and it saves the general fund about $300,000 across all departments. And what it is it's the commissioner's share of the health benefits that we are responsible to pay, not the employee's part. So we were able to fund $600,000 from that health benefit account to offset the expenses in the healthcare benefits. Another thing we did was we had to take a look at all the budgets, because even with the savings from trying to align the health benefit lines with what history showed, and with the health benefit holidays of $600,000, we were still short about $2.7 million to balance our budget. So what we did in that case is we reduced 5% across the board for all general funded departments in their non-personnel lines, like maybe travel, maybe like supply lines. We had to do it across the board. So it just shows to you, as Commissioner Crawford said, it's a tight year for us, as a matter of fact. For our unappropriated certifications, we have basically certified every penny except for $814. And so that just tells you, good things do come to an end, and that's where we're at. And I'm sure next year, depending on where our revenues are coming in at, I know after first quarter, several of the the revenue categories were up comparatively, but it's just the first quarter. We still got 3/4 of the year to go. And when we were looking at like the casino tax, that pretty much has been flat for the last several years. So, but we had interest income, as you guys all know, and I'm sure fiscal officers know, we've really been able to benefit from the interest on our investments and our funds. But again, we also know that that's temporary. As the other rates come down, this will come down, follow suit as well. And then we took a look at our local government tax revenue fund, and again, as far as what we're seeing on average, it's slightly above what we have anticipated or budgeted for. And then we of course have the property tax revenue, and we weren't sure how that was going to play out after the first half was due, because people had been told, do not pay full year because you could be receiving credits from the recent legislation that was passed, limiting the inflation on the 20 mil floor, that you could be getting refunds. So we weren't quite sure how that was gonna play out. But in the end, it actually was right around what we had anticipated, actually a little more. So, you know, in our sales and tax use, you know, I think we were up, the recent last report, we were up like 2.54%. So again, you know, things are pretty much flattening out as far even as revenue increases go. So it's something that the three of us constantly have to monitor, to make sure that we can fund the mandated fund dates on us, make sure we can fund the statutory obligations that we have to fund certain elected officials. So it's a pretty big job.
Yeah, I want to piggyback if you're done for a minute.
Yeah, I'm done.
Just to add into this, I'm hoping to tell you some things that nobody knows, or if you know, that's great. But during our budget time and our budget hearings, the courts and the judges, they order their money. This is what we want. And it's a court order, and it comes to us, and we have to provide it. So everybody asks when we're out and about, and I know I've been asked a lot, and I'm sure these other two have as well, but you know, we're asked, well, why did you just certify 6 months of your budget? Well, it's very easy, very simple. We don't want to certify something we're unaware of. The three of us are very conservative when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. I'm real happy to have Joe, who's a CPA, on board with us, and Sabrina, who's been here a while.
11 years.
I mean, she's old. And, and you know, I just think that fiscally, we have an awesome
Dynamic.
It's just our budget director and our director of finances does a very good job, but a bunch of eyes are better than just a set of eyes. And with Sabrina and her experience, knowing what could or couldn't happen, because as we know, things don't go the same every year. Yeah. And with Joe, with the CPA experience, it's been absolutely fantastic. So that's why we did what we did, just to move things along. And you know, as Commissioner Bennett indicated, yeah, we got $800, but we'll be all right. But everything will be fine. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, as you know, I'm the fiscal officer for Randolph, and I understand the budget process, okay? What I'm wondering is, do you review your contracts, like your telephone, your cable bills and such? Do you review the health insurance? Do you go out and get new quotes?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Internal Services is in charge of reviewing the contracts that come through, and then of course we see them because we have to sign off. No matter which elected official it is, we are the statutory authorized signers for all contracts in the county. And so, and then as far as health benefits, we have a person that is designated just to health benefits, and she's awesome. Her name is Susan Lynn. She's been with us for numerous years, and she does a phenomenal job. And yes, every year we go out because it's over the threshold. We have to look. But we have been very fortunate in that, you know, for the most part, our healthcare, either we've had modest increases or we've had no increases. And some of that is due to us. We also took that health benefit line item here, and we actually awarded the employees last year, giving them the credit. So they had their last paycheck, they did not have their medical or their benefits for medical or dental or eye. I think it was, maybe it was just, come out. It was like a holiday for them. That's one of the things that we did. And again, that's because we have that account.
And just to piggyback that, and with
Yeah.
that savings, we gave all the employees a $10,000 life insurance policy they can take with them. You know, when you look at your employees, I mean, we all travel the county and we see our employees and they're just working their hind ends off. But you know that they're going paycheck to paycheck, and you know how are they making it, and you just, we look at things every day and how we can help our employees. And that was something that came up, and we thought, you know what, that'll help. Not that we want somebody to have to use it, that's for sure, but it's also transferable with them. If they leave, as long as they pay the premiums, they can take it. So it's just little things like that that, you know, nobody knows, but we try to take care of the employees the best we can.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, actually, a couple questions. Newt Sandy Angle from Randolph. And
New to Engle, I haven't seen you in how many years?
it's been a long time since Garrettsville.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But Sabrina, you just mentioned threshold. What is the threshold for that has to go out to bid before you can just?
I think on our contracts is what, 75,000?
About
It-
77, yeah, it goes up
It-
every year.
every year,
Between
yeah,
like
it's
75 and
inflated.
I'm sure there's probably
80,000.
a clause in there for like
It's
sole
inflated.
service provider or something like that.
Yeah, it's like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And secondly, the second question is, what is your fiscal year? Is it July 1?
No, it's
January 1?
calendar.
It's a
year.
calendar
Calendar
year.
year.
It's the state that has a fiscal year.
Calendar
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and the,
And a
yeah.
biennial
Mhm.
budget.
And my third question that popped in my head was, how far out do you approve expenditures? As far as like if the three of you decide we need that $5 million building, and, but you're probably not gonna pay for that in 1 year. So you're gonna say, well, we're going to approve $1 million a year for 5 years. Do you do that? Do you approve expenses or purchases that are going to go out past the fiscal year, maybe for multiple years?
Well, especially when it's pertaining to buildings, because as Jill stated earlier, we own all the buildings, no matter who is occupying it, we actually own it. An example of that is the jail. We are the owner of record, the sheriff is in control of the operations, but the building is our building. And so, and the same thing with the judges, I mean, we own the courthouses and stuff, so we have to be able to maintain them. And an example of that is, we would have to take a look at our finances first of all, to see if it's even affordable for us to do it at this time. We would also weigh out other options, you know, is someone needing a new building, is there any way we could maybe renovate or expand another building? Or if we have to build, you know, we have land ourselves that we could take a look at. I mean, we have to look at all of our options, especially with a big decision like that. It's not just one that we say, oh, looks like we have 5 million, let's do it. Because again, we have lots of unexpected expenses that pop up, like I swear, weekly. And we have aging infrastructure, we have aging buildings that, you know, cost a lot of money to Band-Aid them, but at the same point in time, at this point in time, we're not in a position really to pursue like a new building. But yes, a new building, and it's not something we would decide in a week, 2 weeks. It takes months. I mean, by the time and as far as going out to debt services, you'll hear people talk about us going out to bonds. We actually have an A bond rating. I think it's a AA bond rating for the county. We have not went out to debt in probably 10, 11 years. So we have a good rating, but there again, we're not in a position to go out. I mean, it's great that we have the good credit rating, but we also have to be able to repay the debt back. So,
And little things too, like, well, it's not a little thing, it's pretty huge, but we have an annex next to the administration building. And it's been used for the court, it's been used for a prosecutor, it's just been used. And then when it got evacuated, and we went up to Veteran Services, and they were in a very small office, about half the size of this room. And how do you really take care of our veterans? And they're very near and dear to all three of us. So we kind of had the building redone. Our maintenance department really helped, so we didn't have to go out and spend a lot of contractual money to have it done and refinished. And if you've not seen it, you need to stop in. The Veteran Services have done a great job. It's 2-story. It's a brick building. We ended up putting in a ramp because a lot of the veterans obviously have trouble with stairs. So we put in a ramp, and I'm going to tell you, I'm very proud of that building.
Oh, the elevator too.
We had to put it.
Or not the elevator, but the outside, I guess it's like a.
Oh.
It's an elevator.
Yeah, but it's covered and.
Yeah, it's out back if somebody needs to go to the second floor. They try to do everything on the first. But and that area was enclosed so that if they do go in there, they're out of the elements, and it's gonna save some years on the elevator itself. So just to piggyback what Sabrina said, that's kind of what we're doing. We have buildings we need. We have departments that they need a building, but are we up to right now with the way our economy is to say, hey, we need money? No, we're not. And I don't think there's one of us that would even recommend that right now. So yeah, I appreciate that question because those are things that we probably wouldn't normally talk about unless somebody brings them up, so.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Are you finished?
Am I finished? I can be finished because
No,
I
go
want to
for
make.
it. Go for it. I don't want you to be done.
All right. Well, I will just wrap up quickly. We also have under our jurisdiction, the Board of County Commissioners, the 10 departments, and we have directors for each one of those departments, and they are the airport. As many of you know, we do have an airport. It also covers our budget and finance department. We also have the building department that's under our jurisdiction, the dog warden, emergency management agency, the human resources department, internal services that we just talked about. Job and family services is also under our jurisdiction, as well as solid waste, which is the recycling and water resources. So as you can see, basically the county commissioners need to take a really broad view of the county as a whole. We need to be making decisions that is in the best interest of Portage County as a whole. Where other elected officials, you know, they're looking at just their kind of their specific job duties, which is fine, but we need to like bring all that together under our umbrella and, you know, make the decisions that we think are best for Portage County to move forward and, you know, just be a place that people want to live and work. So that's pretty much
Well, thank
all
you,
I had. You're welcome.
Mrs.
Oh,
Crawford.
I did want to mention real
Oh, you
quick.
said you were
Yeah, I
done.
thought it was done, but I did want to mention it, and we touched a little bit on this. You know, property taxes are the hot topic right now, and Commissioner Bennett's going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But the one thing I wanted to mention was, and I think we already touched on it, was, you know, there will be a potential for property tax bills for your second half of property tax bills to be less. However, that would be only if there was 5 tax reform bills that were passed at the end of the year of 2025, and they took effect March 19th of 2026. Many of those bills, you won't see their effect until the following year, but one of them is House Bill 186, and that is for the 20 mil floor. And that 20 mil floor, the auditor's office, they deal with all these 20 mil floors, all these things that go into the calculation of your property taxes. And I will be honest, I love numbers, obviously. And, you know, 20 mil floor, you throw out all these different this verbiage, and but 20 mil floor relates to school districts. So if you live in a school district that's on the 20 mil floor, that means that they're getting a certain amount of, you know, revenue from your property taxes, and then it has to do with how the state then funds the rest for the school district. But only if your school is on the 20 mil floor will you see a reduction in your property taxes. And it's hard to say how much that is. It's not like we can say, oh, all of Portage County residents are gonna see, 3% tax reduction. We can't say that because your property taxes are based on where you live, so you can have different rates for your township, your school district, et cetera. So, just be on the lookout for that, and know that they might go down, but there's a potential that,
They
if
may
your school
not.
district is not on the 20 mil floor, you will not see any reduction.
Decrease.
So,
What's a reduction? I'll be looking for it.
so just to kind of keep that in mind. So,
Thank you,
now I'm
ma'am.
done.
Outstanding.
So if they're on a 20 mil floor, there will be a discount.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you live in that district.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Will there be a certain percentage across the board for that?
No,
No.
because everyone's taxes fluctuate. It's based
Okay.
on value. It's
Yeah.
based on a lot of things.
Yeah, it's
so.
very, that's why I said,
They're very
like,
complex.
they are
I'm
very
texting one of my
complex.
school board members right now.
Oh,
See if you're on the 20 mil
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
We have several districts
Yes.
actually that
Yeah.
are.
most districts in Ohio, I forget the
Do you
percentage,
know if
but,
Southeast is?
I don't
I don't know.
know.
I
I'll
know
have an
Kent
answer soon.
is.
So,
I'm trying to think of the ones that I remember. It's been a while. I know Kent was definitely one I think that was flagged, that has the 20 mil floor. And then maybe Streetsboro. Because I know
recall.
people, I think,
I thought most of them were.
Ortstown.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
most of them
so-
are on the 20 mil floor is my
Yeah.
recollection, but I don't
Most
want
of them
to.
aren't really that bad, like Rootstown, I think was 20.004 before the property tax, and then,
Yeah.
once they reevaluated, then brought back up to.
The 20,
Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, first of all, the America 250 celebration tomorrow, if anyone is available, at 1 o'clock at the Portage County Historical Society. The Portage County Commissioners will have the Heritage Tree dedication. And what that is, this year is the semi-quincentennial, or also known as America 250 birthday on July 4th. And in an effort to honor Ohio, there is this initiative called Heritage Trees Planting History, where trees are living history, and planting a tree is a way to honor Ohio's past, shape the present, and establish our environmental future. So we will be planting, I think it's swamp white oak tree tomorrow at 1 o'clock in order of Portage County's birthday. And America's 250 birthday, actually. So everyone's invited to come out. I saw the tree. We actually had the students from the Compact 6 Forestry and Environmental Services come out last Thursday and dig the hole. The tree's planted. We will be doing the ribbon cutting. So we invite everyone out for this occasion because it's definitely one that'll go down in history. So please check your calendars and see if you could come, and we'd love to see you. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about, which, as Commissioner Crawford said, is our big hot button, and it's the initiative to abolish property taxes. Last Thursday, I don't know if you guys were tuned in, it was deemed the huge announcement, and that is where the initiative organization, which is Axe Ohio Tax, made an announcement that they currently had 305 signatures of the 488 signatures that they need to put the initiative on the November ballot. Now they have until I think July 1st to turn in those signatures. But just like when we run, you normally try to get double or triple the signatures, because you could have a page, and they've been collecting for a while, you could have a page where someone has moved, someone's deceased, and if you don't catch it before you turn it in and cross it out, it'll ruin a whole page. So they are trying to collect a minimum of 620,000. So what they have to decide is, depending on whether or not they will at least reach the minimal, which is the 413,000 and some change, if they want to go ahead and turn that in, or if they want to continue collecting signatures to ensure that they get them the amendment on the 2027 ballot. So what I'm here to tell you is what they don't talk about is what happens if property taxes are abolished, okay? And if you ask them, because I've had people ask them, I mean, normally they'll say, hey, do you want to do away with your property taxes? Well, of course, who doesn't? I would love to. But they never say, understand though, by doing this, this is what it could mean. And so I'm here today to go over a presentation that actually the Ohio County Commissioners Associations, along with the Ohio County Auditors Association, has put together to give you some insight on things that could be impacted by the abolishment of the taxes. First thing we have here, effects of the full repeal, which means major service losses. Counties would be entirely reliant on sales tax. And so across Ohio, that would mean we would have to increase sales tax to be able to cover $2.76 billion just for the tax year 2024's numbers. And to give you some ideas, what that covers is like school districts, counties, townships, municipalities, and special districts. More than 51 of the counties are at the statutory maximum sales tax rate. The maximum sales tax rate is, I think, 8.75. Portage County is currently at 7%. Of the 7%, there's always the state mandatory amount, which is 5.75%. Then we have the transits have also the ability for a sales tax, and PARTA has 0.25%, so that takes us to 6%. So our sales tax is 7%, so the county, out of all the sales tax, only gets 1%. That 1% generates between 29 and 30 million a year for the county. It would also require a substantial increase in the maximum rate, meaning if you want to play the shell game and you don't want to look to cut costs where we can, it would mean that we would have to substantially increase the maximum rate, mostly doubling, if not additional on top of. So right now we're at 7, we would probably have to look at maybe between 18 and 20% sales tax. And you know, the interesting part of that is that the very people that we're trying to help stay in their homes, seniors, disabled vets, disabled folks, the assumption is that the majority of them own a home. Well, a lot of them don't. And so what that means for those folks is they're not going to get their property tax back to have this nice little cushion, but they are definitely going to be impacted by the substantial increase of the sales tax that we would have to increase to cover everything. And again, I'm not saying we're going to say, well, we're not making any cuts. We would be still good stewards of the funds and see what we could do, because we know people are hurting now with the cost of energy, gas, just everyday living, and it would be detrimental, I think, for a lot of folks. So where does the county property tax revenue go? We fund Human Services, which is JFS. They actually have a levy on the ballot for the primary next Tuesday. We fund the general fund. We fund safety forces, and then we also use it for capital and debt services. So when you hear like any debt that we currently do have, we actually use the property tax, the inside millage, to fund that debt service. So the question is, if we don't have that money to fund those properties, what happens to that debt? What happens to our credit rating? The other thing is some reform proposals that both CCAO, the County Commissioners Association, and the County Auditors Association has proposed is the homestead exemption. Increase the exemption amount and increase the eligibility income threshold. Increase the exemption amount. I think the exemption amount is if you qualify for homestead, the exemption amount right now is $29,000. So say, for example, you own a house that's valued at $100,000. You would subtract the $29,000 from that and only get taxed on the $71,000, which that is like a $400 savings for the year. So people that get homestead understand they get a tax credit each half. And increase the eligibility income threshold. Right now, the eligibility threshold to even qualify for homestead expansion or homestead exemption is $41,000. And over the years, they have increased it because a lot of folks, you can't live on $41,000. So, and we're talking it's the income of the household. So. Then there's the tax credit reform. You'll hear more about this because they did pass where they could eliminate the 10% non-business credit and increase owner occupancy credit from 2.5%. If you look on your tax bill, it's the 2.5% rollback. Eventually, they want to increase that up to like 12.5%. Actually, it might even be higher. And what they do is over time, they decrease the non-business credit, all the while increasing the property tax credit. Eliminate or reform school district 20 mil floor, and that's sort of what they have already passed legislation to do, is that they cap it at inflationary versus it follows suit with the increases of the property. Just to give you a couple ideals, so what can we do as county commissioners? Because in all honesty, it's not in our control, it's the state legislature. And as you guys know, they have been very, very busy. They are looking at a 30-some year problem that all of a sudden has come to head because the legislations over the years have chose to ignore or kick the can, we'll say, addressing the school funding. And so we have a very active General Assembly right now, and they are throwing out all kinds of things, and they have, as Commissioner Crawford said, they have passed certain legislation that, and one of them is the credit that you may possibly see if your school district is at the 20 mil floor. That's one of them. We could also scrutinize the county budget, which I laugh about this because the state wants a blue ribbon commission, and that's basically where the county would do a study on inefficiency, shared services, and potential consolidations. And so, which I think right now at this point in time, we do a very good job scrutinizing the budget. I mean, almost like daily it seems. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I've been a commissioner for 11 years, and I've been here in good times, I've been here in bad times, but this has probably been the most challenging because of the aging infrastructure, unplanned expenses, different things expenses that we have no control of. The best thing we need to do is what we're doing today is to educate the public and discuss the funding essential services such as children's services, elections, public safety, and county roads, etc., and libraries. We can also discuss services that are specifically funded by property tax levies. I know townships seem to have a lot of levies because that's how you guys take care of your roads. If you have safety forces. I was at the Ohio Township Association conference this year, and one of the things that they're saying, options to replace the revenue from a township side, since I got township people here, one of them was to have the state legislature could authorize townships to collect income tax. So that's one of the things. But again, the implementation would take time. Local government and school implementation would likely duplicate local taxes. So there's reciprocity concerns there. And then require a ballot issue, which delays revenue waiting until the next election cycle. The other thing they could look at is state income tax. Recently, it's lower, could be raised to support school funding, and again, that's the state income tax, not the local. And then another thing was to take a look at your special taxing districts to see what you could do there. We have been in touch with our legislatures. Actually, we had David Thomas and Heidi came in earlier last year, I think it was, or maybe around summertime, I think. I forget when they came in. And all three of us are in constant contact with them to discuss things and to say, hey, this sounds good, but this is how it would impact at least our county. And again, there's 88 counties, and the impact is different across all 88 counties. So we try to educate and then explore local property tax relief options by like rolling back or freezing the county's inside millage revenue. Our inside millage revenue, and that's the taxes that you don't get to vote on, is around 12 million. 10 million goes to the general fund, and then 2 million goes to debt services. So right now, our anticipated tax revenue this year was 60,000. We had a rollover of 14 million, or 60 million. We had a rollover of 14 million that makes up our budget of 74. But if you were to take away the inside millage, that's almost 20% gone. And I don't know how you guys feel, but can you imagine, like, overnight just eliminating 20% of your expenses? I mean, it would be great if I get to keep all the revenue, but that's the other thing, you know, we have to focus on is that we need to promote reforms that address both sides of the ledger, revenues and expenditures, including mandates, service delivery models, and system efficiencies. It's not just one-sided. And so we could utilize the permissive homestead and owner occupancy credits from the budget. We could also ask residents if they would be willing to swap inside millage, that's the 12 million, from the county for a sales tax increase. And so, out of all the communities, just to give you an idea of safety levies that are across the state, there's 40 counties that actually have a safety levy, 565 municipalities have one, and then 1,011 townships. Levies are categorized as safety include like ambulances, EMS, fire, police, drug task force, 9/11 systems, jail, criminal justice, sheriffs, and operating levies for special districts that provide EMS, fire, and police services. So let's talk about some of the impacts on the certain counties. For public safety, if we were to do away with the actual property tax, and it would hike sales and income taxes as high as 20%, but they estimate that across the state there would be layoffs of more than 32,000 police officers, firefighters, paramedics, dispatchers, and other first responders, longer response times for fires, ambulance runs, accidents and incidents, outdated life-saving equipment, because it's not cheap. And, you know, we're fortunate we get a lot of grants. So, increasing risk to both the victims and to the rescuers. Police and fire station closures, fewer police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances and services. Let's talk about the seniors. Mike Timlin. Oh, did I say that?
Hello.
Let's talk about the seniors.
See how I'm treated?
Critical senior services that are supported by property taxes in 74 of 88 counties would be at risk for essential services such as home delivered meals, in-home and personal assistant care, transportation and adult day services, home repairs and accessibility modifications, and then the local senior centers would greatly be reduced services or closed altogether. And I know you guys have one here. They would also diminish ability to investigate cases of abuse and the neglect of Ohio's 2.8 million seniors. And that is just for the information, that the senior abuse is actually on the rise, the reporting. Thousands of seniors could be forced into high-cost nursing facilities sooner. What does it mean for folks with developmental disabilities? And keep in mind, these are our most vulnerable folks. What that would mean, property taxes cover about 75 to 85% of the budget for each county board of developmental disabilities. Without this revenue, the statewide DD system collapses. No early intervention services for infants and toddlers, no preschool and K-12 special education supports in the public schools, no federal Medicaid matching dollars, forfeiting more than $1 billion each year, slashing Medicaid waiver services, and eliminating of case management services that ensure health, safety, and accountabilities for the folks receiving services. What does it mean for local roads? You know, that's when I first came to office. That was the majority of my calls: the roads. And as we know, we had one here in Randolph. That was a big concern because of Sarchione. I think it was Waterloo Road that runs alongside there. Eliminating this funding source, which is nearly $414 million a year, means poorer driving conditions for motorists. It means fewer delayed roads and bridge repairs, resurfacing and replacement, more potholes and deteriorating local streets, reduced snow and ice removal from many communities, slow response to hazardous road conditions, thousands of construction and infrastructure jobs at risk. What does it mean for public health? Public health, without this revenue, health departments will be forced to cut services that the Ohio law mandates them to have. And that would be like early detection and control of infectious disease, like stopping the spread of West Nile virus, Lyme disease, Zika, and more, rabies testing and control, nuisance abatement, tuberculosis control and treatment, school building and ground inspection, child fatality reviews would all be at risk. I'm almost done. I only have a few more here. 2 more. What does it mean for the local parks and recreation that so many people love about Portage County? What does it mean for them? It would mean the end of youth sports and teen programs in the parks. It would mean closures of senior centers and senior programming, reduced hours of closure for municipal pools, rec fields, playgrounds, and metro parks, reduced maintenance and upkeep of the parks that do remain open, cancellation of community events, including like Independence Day celebrations, fewer ranger patrols, and halting any existing or new construction. And the last thing I have here, which we have 2 folks from the library, abolishing property taxes would wipe out more than half of all the library funding, leaving them no way to replace the revenue on their own, and almost certainly resulting in closed branches, reduced hours and staffing, fewer programs for literacy, tutoring, summer learning, and career coaching, fewer workforce development programs, reduced access to high-speed internet, because not everyone can afford the internet, so they rely on the library, and reduced services, again, for seniors, including guidance for applying for Medicaid and Social Security, book video delivery for homebound seniors, and technology assistance and training. So as you can see here, and by the way, I want to circle back when we were talking about how they were going to eliminate the owner-occupied, or no, not the owner-occupied, excuse me, the non-business credit. It will go up to like the 12.5% on the chart. So I just want to say that. So I'm here to just inform you of what it looks like without property taxes. I'm not here to sway you. You should vote for it, you shouldn't. I'm here just to educate what the true impact would be on the county and all of us that you're not really hearing, and that you're hearing that's for the state to figure out, because we're all gonna be in the same boat. So, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to go back to, the school districts with the 20 mil floor. My school district, Southeast Local, is on a 20 mil floor. So I have a question, if that reduction is only one time, and then will it go back up the next year? Is it a one-time deduction?
That I'm not sure
I'm
on.
not sure, I don't think so, I think it's an inflationary cap that they look at,
Mhm.
kind of like the House Bill 355 or 335, I
I
can't
got that
remember.
list of-
335, House Bill, you know, where they're trying to limit the increases, and they're putting like an inflationary cap in there. So
Mhm.
I think it should be something, it's not like a one-time thing, I think it should be something that should be going forward, in the future as well. And then just to, talk about the owner occupancy credit, Commissioner Bennett was correct that, you know, it'll go up to the 12.5, but then over the next 4 years, it trends up to 15.38.
Yeah.
So over 4 years, it goes from, you know, we get
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 plus a 10, but then as they phase out the non-business credit, your owner occupancy credit will go up to 15.
Increases.
Yeah.
And when is that gonna start? When is that going up to 12%? Because you said currently
Oh.
it's 2.5?
You got the chart, Jill. When-
Yeah.
It tells you when,
Is that
Yeah.
gonna
what
start
years,
this July when the next?
No,
No,
it'll
no.
start in next year.
next
Okay,
year.
so it's
Next
a
year.
2027. Will it be February?
Yeah, it should be reflected on your, yes, bills
Yeah.
that are due in February.
And keep in
actually.
mind, it's confusing because taxes, property taxes are a year behind, so when we
Mhm.
say for
Right.
the 2026 bill, they're talking in, that
Due
bill
in-
is due in 2027, whereas people hear 2026, they're thinking this year.
Mhm.
Okay, so on that 20 mil floor thing, it has an inflationary cap,
Mhm.
and it's not a one-time thing.
That's my, that's my
Okay,
understanding of it, so
Okay.
you might wanna check with the auditor's office as well, but.
I will do that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the auditor's office, give them kudos, because there's a lot of complexities in these, you know, different items that all relate to your real estate tax calculation.
Yeah, because you're right, Jill. It says, tax year 2029, it's up to 15.38, and then it says onwards. So onwards would mean they would increase that going forward.
Yeah,
What-
I think it, the max is the 15.38. I
Yeah.
think they were saying 2029 and onward, that would be,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Oh,
continuing
I was
into
thinking that.
2030, right, so it'll be.
When I was at the OTA, seminar or the conference, I took a bunch of property tax classes. And it's interesting, the breakdown on that, and I screenshot it, I saved it, cause I had the book. Actually screenshot it and sent it to my school board neighbor, and I'm like, look, you guys are taking most of the money.
Yeah.
The schools are 64%, counties are 16.
Yep.
Township is 7.2%. Municipalities are 6.36, and then special districts, that would be like your MRTD, library, that type of thing, is 6.28%. So, some of us have to do more with less on this.
Yeah.
And the county only gets 16% of that.
Yeah, we.
Yeah, we
It's
get
a
very,
small.
very little, and that's what people think, you know, that we get all this property tax money, when really we don't.
We get asked all the time, what do you do with all that money you got?
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
wish
get-
we got it.
I
Yeah.
get questions from residents from my township, and they're like, well, where's the marijuana tax going?
Yeah, well, that goes to the
That's-
municipalities.
Yep.
That
And
goes,
who
Only.
has the yeah.
yeah, who has
Has
the
the
dispensaries?
dispensaries.
Cause like, you'll see, like Ravenna, they've had the longest one. They just got like over 400,000 for the marijuana tax,
So
sales
you
tax.
have to have that business within your.
Within your
municipality.
boundaries.
Yes.
Right.
Municipal.
And
Yeah.
the next one is Streetsboro, because they have one. And then I didn't hear on the Kent. Kent had to, they've had
I
one
haven't seen
forever.
it.
Yeah, we didn't hear, they just highlighted the two, which was Ravenna and Streetsboro.
Anything else, ma'am?
That's it.
All right, my turn. Oh, no, Mary, you go for it.
So I think that a lot of people don't understand townships, you know, we're at like the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, you know, and what they've told us, even with the Ohio Township Association, we are the most efficient type of government. We can't just enact a sales tax, we can't do an income tax. We rely on property tax, and it's for all those services that,
Mhm.
that everybody enjoys.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, your good roads,
Mhm.
your fire services, you know, in speaking with our fire chief,
EMS.
the only thing that's
ambulance?
mandated is volunteer fire service. So when you have a medical emergency, what's gonna happen? You know, it's hard to get volunteers to begin with.
Mhm.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm gonna ask you as well is, are you going to have more of any of these meetings focusing just on that property tax? And what commissioners can do?
I think it's gonna be an ongoing topic to discuss at our coffees with the commissioners.
Yeah, I don't
But,
think anything's
you
gonna
know,
be settled quick.
No, and again, it all depends on the signatures, but I can tell you, grassroots efforts can pass. The difference is, these folks don't have anyone paid signers, otherwise they would have met their numbers. But that being said, it's pretty impressive that they've got what they've got so far. I mean, we should not take that lightly or assign as, oh, it's not gonna pass. So we hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Anyone else? Okay. How many, and be honest, how many people in here felt that our sales tax was 7.25%?
How many what?
How many thought that?
Oh, I know.
Okay, well, very good. Let me tell you something. 2 years ago, I bought a car. Not for me, for my wife. And I'm looking at the contract, and on the sales tax, it has 7.25% for Portage County. And I said to the guy, how long have you been selling cars? He said, oh, about 4 years. And I said, and you've always made Portage County 7.25%. And he said, yeah, that's what it is. I said, no, it's not. So everyone felt that our sales tax was 7.25. In 2018, it was taken away. 18.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It was a 5-year.
Okay, so
19.
right around 2019, the sales tax was put on for the addition to the jail, to the assistance of that.
And for, it was put on there to add to the jail, but it also had a caveat in there that it would also be used for diversion programs.
So criminal justice programs.
Yes.
And in 2018-19, somewhere in there, the commissioners had the ability to leave it on and not do anything, or sign off and go back to 7%.
Mhm.
Well, they signed off. Now, you know as well as I know, you can't ever get something back that you took away. It's not going to happen. So we can look at that all we want, but I don't think that's an answer for us right now, in the way, as I said before, our economy is. Commissioner Bennett did an awesome job explaining. She's on a board at the County Commissioners Association of Ohio, and she does a great job of bringing things back. We all meet with Heidi Workman and Steve Demetrio. They do a great job in protecting you. Trust me when I tell you that. I'm not just saying that. They're great people. They've made some awakenings in their investigation, not only for the monies going to the schools, but the monies that are going places that shouldn't be going. Some of the things that I've seen, and we all go to groups, and we all talk to different people, and that's what makes us unique. Because we all have different people that we know. And they all tell us different things. And I had a 27-year-old gentleman with his mom at one of the functions that I happened to be at. And he made a comment to me, no sales tax, no more, or don't add to our sales tax and no more property tax. I said, okay, I got you, I hear you. Most of the people, and I'm talking younger, they feel entitled. They feel like this break is all about them. And how long have we, 60 and over? Yeah, I looked at you, Mary. How many of us pay taxes all our life? And let me ask you this. Do you ever own your home?
No.
Nope. Pay your house off. Think you're on Easy Street, right? No. Pay your house off. Don't pay your taxes. What happens?
They take it. They'll take it.
Be on the outside looking in. So what I've looked at, and I've talked with our reps about, and I'm kind of that guy that just says what he's thinking. And yes. And that's why I said they keep me in check. But if you're 65 and over, you own your home and you live in it, you should not pay property taxes anymore.
Amen.
And that includes veterans. That's my opinion. And it will always be my opinion. We will work with that loss. But for us to attempt, and we've already started, we started what, a year ago when they were talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at how is this going to affect us and our residents in the county. We started.
And we have to do our part, and that's, we're not into just the shell game. Well, we've lost this revenue, let's go here, because what really have you gained? And as I said earlier, the very people that they're trying to help are the ones they're gonna hurt, because not all of them own a home and will get that relief and not having to pay that expense.
So this 27-year-old, I'm gonna go back to him, very nice kid, very nice, I call him a kid. But he looked at me and he said, yeah, the property taxes are way out of hand and we shouldn't have to pay them anymore. I said, okay. I said, did you sign the paper going around to abolish taxes? And he said, well, yes, I did. I said, can I ask if you live in Portage County? And he said, yes, I do. I said, okay. Where do you live? He said, I live with my mom. I said, do you help mom? Do you pay for the property tax? Well, no, but I don't want to pay it. Yeah, okay, I get it. But I think when this big picture comes out, which it's been out, but when it comes to us, we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic. You've all made the proper statements. You know, I was a fire medic for 40 years. And what was my goal? Take care of people. What happens when you can't? Mr. Durthick here from Freedom Township, he's on the board for not only Garrisville Fire, but Community Ambulance. Community Ambulance was a company I started in '76. And it's flourishing, but it went to an EMS district. And where do they get their funds? They get their funds from levies. Mm-hmm. And what happens? You're not gonna get people, Mary said it, you're not gonna get people volunteering. So, you got my opinion on the property tax. Are there other adjustments that we could make? Absolutely. My opinion will always be, and I'm not changing, 65 and over, you own your home and you live in it. You're done. You're done. Don't you think we owe that to our residents? Not only Portage County, but for the state. Sabrina's close to being there.
I'm 55.
No way. So,
I'll be
I just-
56.
you know, okay, I gotta say this. My grandson is 7, and I have a birthday coming up next month. And he came up to me and he said, "Hey, Papa, I know how old you're gonna be next month." And I said, "Yeah, how old?" He goes, 6, 7. And some of you got kids, you get it. All right. Anyway, moving along. Joe mentioned our leadership. I just want to mention some by name, if I may. Michelle Crombie, our administrator, outstanding job. She hates being recognized, but she keeps me in check as well. As you know, us
It takes
three,
a lot of people,
Yeah.
not just Michelle.
well, yeah,
Just thought
the
I'd throw that out there.
janitors and, but as you know, the three of us cannot meet unless it's an open meeting, and we can't discuss and or make decisions. So everything we do and discuss goes through a mediator like Michelle, and she keeps us in check. And sometimes it's not a good meeting, but she knows how the county operates. She's been here a long time. She knows almost every department because she's worked there. And we had problems in different departments. Got rid of one director. She went down, and that place is flourishing right now. So can't thank her enough. Robert Hardigan, he's our airport director. We took over the airport a few years back. I'm going to talk about a few things with the airport here soon. Jackie Petty, she is our budget and finance director. Dave McIntyre, who's here, is our chief dog warden. Shannon Kutzman is our director of internal services, and that handles maintenance and repairs on all of our buildings. And we have a ton of them. We really do. We have a lot of buildings, and as you know, most of them are not new. Ryan Shackelford, he's our Director of Emergency Management Agency. Now that building's new. That one's on 59, it was paid by a grant, and if you've not seen it, it's between Ravenna and Kent, just west of Black Horse, if you're familiar with the area. Ryan does us a great job throughout our county. We're all very proud of him. He does a fantastic job. Kelly Jo Jeffries, she's our Director of Job and Family Services. Another person that, she's kind of an unsung hero. She just does her thing, and she does a fantastic job. Don Collins, she's our Director of Waste Management, Recycling. In Brimfield is where our facility is located. Stop out. She has so many programs. Go on the website and look, because I'm sure you're trying to get rid of something, didn't know how to get rid of it. Call her. Dan Blakely, he came to us from the city of Youngstown. He's our Director of Water Resources. Fantastic job. And Water Resources pretty much self-funded. They do a fantastic job. Dan does a great job. So I'm just going to run over some real quick things. 2003, Cassidy, our clerk, established our commissioner's Facebook program. And we have a new girl right now, Olivia Conte. She helps with the responsibility of maintaining that. And she highlights notable moments of us, like here today. And just different things, explaining social media, what we're doing, what we're looking to do. Robert Hardigan, as I indicated, is our Director of Regional Airport. We bought that airport back a couple of years ago. A lot of people said we were foolish and we were silly, but I'm going to tell you, economic development is key to bringing business into the county. That's been done. A lot of it's hinged on the airport. I'm very proud of our airport. Rob has brought in millions of dollars in grants. And when we bring in grants, what's that mean? You and I don't have to pay for it. He's brought in a new paint shop partner out there. Now, we would go out, and we'd go out separately, but we'd all go out different times of the year, and paint shop that was out there, I'd see a plane or nothing in. I go out there now, company called Six Custom Aviation took over the paint area. They redid the building interior, in the interior. And if you go there now, I went there about 3 weeks ago. There were 4 planes in the paint room, 6 planes being put together, done, and 7 outside ready to go that were done. And I just stood there. I'm like, are you kidding me? So those are things that are happening around our county that a lot of people don't know. We have a maintenance mechanic that works there, and it's good to have one there, especially if you fly an airplane. But to make it easy for somebody to stop in and get repairs made, it's unbelievable what's happening at that airport and the grants. So stop out if you can. Emergency management, last year in March we had a helicopter crash, Margo Reservoir. Ryan and his team were there like that. Had some flooding in Rootstown that they went to in June. Flooding in Charlestown in July. Who'd have thought? Just unbelievable. We had a train truck accident in September. And in November, if you remember Mahoney County, when that bank and the hotel or apartment building blew up, after they arrived, the first mutual aid call for EMA was us, because they know what we have and the equipment that we have and the knowledge that we utilize. And it's made up, we have Ryan is our director, and we have an assistant director and a few other people on board, but we have firefighters throughout our county that climb on board and they take care of business. So my hats are off to them. It's unbelievable, and they make us look good, and that's what I tell people. It's not me, it's them. They do a great job. Some of the projects, I'm not gonna go through them all, but the 5th floor auditor's office had never been redone. It was horrible to say the least. So we were able to have that completely renovated. So if you're down in the Ravenna area, you could stop up on the 5th floor and check out Matt Kelly's new digs. It's pretty nice. Replace the elevators, stairwells, all patched and painted. The treasurer's office and title bureau. Commissioner Bennett and I walked down there one day, and she said, look, and we looked up at the skylight and leak, and it was horrible. And got that fixed real quick by our internal services. And those are just things. 4th floor, we did some new carpet and paint for them. Our generator, the generator for our building, which as you all know is the old hospital, was old. It was old. We got that replaced. And what is my main concern, and I'm sure it's theirs as well, is our employees in that building and residents that visit there. So that was very important for us. As you know, we're getting storms that are crazy. We never know when they're gonna hit. We had to replace a boiler. We did a panic alarm upgrade to the place. And some entrances that the cement was falling, so we just pumped it back up. Ravenna Courthouse, in the back, the judges need a gated area where their vehicles are secured, and they are secured. We had to replace that. The HVAC units we had to replace. And I think everybody knows 400-ton air conditioning, what that costs. So basically what I'm saying is that we up here, and I guess I shouldn't say it, but we're good stewards of your money, because it's our money as well. But things come up, and with the buildings that we have, and the age that they are, you all know, you live it every day as well, just on a different scale. We have to take care of business to keep the county operating. So if there's anything, anytime, our doors are always open. One of us are usually in the office. If we're not, they know where we are and they'll connect you to us. Please call us. It doesn't bother me getting calls. I'd rather have one that said, you know, happy birthday, 6-7, but call anytime. I love what I do. I do it because I want to, I don't need to. And that makes us all different. We want to be what we're doing. So, any questions I can answer for you right now? Okay then, hearing none.
Anybody else?
Mr. Durfee.
So, and I do wanna correct you, I am no longer the, representative for.
Oh, just take it, just take it.
But I'll correct you on that one, but, so one of the talking points of the Abolish the Property Tax group is that the, state of Ohio is going to pay for local services. And I've been adamant at asking, is there been any recent talk of the state of Ohio taking over local services?
None to mind.
Not
I
that
have
I've
never
not
heard that.
No.
It's
Is
normally
that-
the
that is one of
opposite.
their-
Yeah, it's actually
That
me.
is one of their major talking points, is that if they abolish the property taxes, they already pay enough taxes everywhere else. And so that would be our state, that the state is going to pay for local services.
You know where that came from?
Oh,
Just-
that's,
Just conversation?
that's what their whole talking point is, that they're
Never
gonna get
heard.
rid of property
I have
taxes.
never-
I have not heard
Yeah.
anything
And
that.
your local
these are-
services are still going to.
Well, I hope, but I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I'll
Cause
check,
that's
I'll
one of the
check.
things we asked was,
How
could
much?
you take back some of your unfunded mandates and
Yes.
pay with your 5.75 compared to our one, you
Right.
know? And the other thing is, you know, the schools really fall under the state, but it's
Right.
pushed down on us. Could you
Right.
take back some of those and then, you know, to help us, what kind of relief can you give us? And the answer was, there was no appetite for it in Columbus at that point in time. And if it's changed, I'm not aware of it, Jeff.
Because it is basic, if you take the funding away from, and we'll use the fire department as an example in Garrettsville. They would lose 100% of their funding.
Mhm.
And it would be gone. That money has to come from somewhere. Well, you've taken all the money away, or you've taken, again, in Freedom Township, I think it's like at least 60% of our funding would be lost. So the next responsible person would be the township government to pay for Garrettsville Fire. Well, again, there just isn't any money to even turn the lights on, let alone to pay maintenance or any of that stuff. So the next logical one then is the county. And so, is there a Plan B discussion of paying for local services? And then, okay, if you guys aren't willing to, then the next one is.
We lose
is
even
the
more,
state.
Jeff. We would not be in a position
Right.
to.
Wouldn't have it.
I mean,
And that's the point I think it needs to be
Yeah.
made to the whole group of, abolish the property tax supporters, is that when you're taking 100% of the funding, you have to go up the ladder and find the next, you know, who is going to pay for that. And the other comment, question, or concern is that now you have these, coalition groups. Like now there's the, it's the anti-solar group, it's the anti-data tax group that seems to be thinking that they're going to, run over local, zoning. Just what, when they abolish the property tax, if that takes an effect, that's going to remove local zoning, and that's also gonna make all these data centers that nobody seems to want in Portage County. That's gonna green light them for places like Freedom Township because there's no local zoning. So
Yeah, there's a lot at stake, and that's why I chose the topic today, because you're not hearing the opposite side of the ledger sheet. You know, you can take away the revenue, but what about the expenses?
right, and that's what I think you guys need to be, your talking points are good, their talking points are good. But it's what's it gonna do to Portage County? When it comes to Portage County, how much money is gonna be taken out of your budget if it gets abolished? And,
A lot.
and okay, if we've taken all that money out and the state has already said they're not gonna pay for it, what services are gonna end? And if it makes this November ballot, that was the other question that's come up, is if it makes the November ballot and it takes effect, is there gonna be any funding, to come up in that next year? Or is it gonna be it, is it gonna be done? And I think you guys need to be making your point, we need to do it as township trustees. That,
Everyone
you know,
needs
hey,
to
what-
educate.
What exactly is our poor library guy is gonna be done too, and he's next on the radar to abolish the property taxes, cause now they've started the thing where Ohio spends more money than anybody else tax-wise.
On libraries.
On libraries, that's their next crosshairs. And they're just gonna be non-existent, and I think that's the point we all need to make to our taxpayers, is that, you know, hey, it's like your electric bill, you quit paying the electric bill, they turn your electric off. And if you quit paying property taxes, which are taxpayers voted, you know, taxpayers voted for those services.
And they're gonna be voting on them next Tuesday and have already voted
And
on.
if you vote the service out, the service has to stop. We just don't have anywhere for the money to come from.
Let me just back on that real quick, Jeff. Commissioner Bennett brought it to my attention, and I really didn't pay attention to it, but the last election, what was the percent, 80%?
Oh, it was
yeah.
huge.
Levies
That
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 passed.
passed.
Our
Levies passed.
taxpayers still want services.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
what
Sure.
these taxpayers want, services, they just want somebody else to pay for it somewhere
Right.
else. And the last person in line is the state of Ohio, and the state,
Yeah.
and I've been asking them from the beginning, hey, are you gonna pick this up? And the answer is no, they're not
No.
gonna pick up local services.
Yeah,
And
good.
that's the point that needs to be made.
And on the library side of things, as it pertains to the State House, backfilling, we've got, you know, you say, about to be in the crosshairs. We're almost 30 years past that. It was back in 2009 when the state cut, the budget for libraries statewide. You can look, dollar for dollar, that cost has been passed on to local taxpayers out of property taxes.
Right.
It used to be that, you know, libraries weren't as dependent on local money as we used to be because we got the funding from the state. And there is literally a dollar for dollar makeup where that changes. Now,
Again, typical of the state, they push it down to us at the local level. And then when you when the rubber meets the pavement and property values go up like it did, it's just a recipe for disaster. And then say to us, well, you shouldn't have been passing all those levies. And I'm like, what? Well, I mean,
yeah,
I'm the one that used to ask, well, what can the state do? And it's like, well, if your constituents want it, they'll pass a levy.
and to our
Mary, did
credit-
you ever hear that?
Yeah.
I mean, we all
And
have.
that was one of whenever we do have a levy, because we can't tell people vote yes or vote no. I just say, if you enjoy the services that are currently provided and want those to continue,
Then vote.
that's
Perfect.
what-
Yep.
That's what you have to vote for.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And now, if this goes through, those services are no longer there.
Yeah.
And I don't think some of these supporters really understand that they're taking it out of they're taken out of the local government's hands.
Because
They're taking their say.
True.
I
Yep.
can tell you, when I was standing in line in July to pay my tax bill, there was an older gentleman, or mature gentleman in front of me, and a mature lady behind me, and they start talking. The guy said, well, I hope this is the last time I ever have to come here. And she said to him, she goes, oh yeah, won't it be great? And I thought, she goes, I can plan a nice vacation that I haven't been able to afford. And I'm thinking, these poor people have this money spent before they even have it. And then I'm thinking, they do not understand the opposites, the flip reverse side of this, of the impact that it's gonna have. Because I think they think, well, it's just my taxes. You know, they think individually, whereas, you know, the whole big picture and accumulatively, it has a major impact on the county as a whole. And so that's why I'm probably gonna update ours to tailor it more towards Portage County's numbers. But I think we need to mention it, obviously, at our coffees with the commissioners, and then, you know, they said you could get with chambers if you wanna discuss it, but we truly just need to educate the other side. And I'm not here to say vote yes or no, I just want you to understand the flip side of this that you're not hearing.
Wait, we're gonna deal with whatever they give us. You know, if the taxpayers say enough is enough, we're not paying anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, I don't know how we're gonna unlock
Well, yeah.
the door to the fire station because we won't have enough money to pay for the insurance, let alone the maintenance on the trucks.
And what about equipment
Yeah,
replacement?
exactly.
I mean,
We just ordered a fire truck, it's $1.1 million,
oh yeah,
and we have to wait 3 years before we see it. And
Yeah.
so,
Yep.
you know,
Takes that
what
long.
happens?
Yep.
We're gonna have a new fire truck that we may not have people to
I'll come
get
back.
to the fire.
use that.
Did I hear you say Freedom Township doesn't have zoning?
No,
No, we have zoning, but
Okay.
if they abolish the property tax,
Oh, okay.
all these locals, and zoning is made up of local residents that live in each individual community. That's why we're all unique that way.
yeah,
But if the funding gets stopped and zoning ends, you're gonna open the door for big business to be able to do what they wanna do,
Mhm.
to bring those data centers in and all these
Yeah.
other things that it seems like locals don't want.
and
you're
Laura,
losing some of that local.
Deerfield's the only one in
Yeah,
county that does not have
I
it.
thought that we were the only one, and we haven't
Yeah,
had it
you
for
are.
years. And our residents are happy, they don't want it,
Till
so,
that data center comes.
well, I mean, where are they gonna put it in Deerfield?
Right, well,
I
Your
mean, you have
farm.
to think of, where are they gonna put it?
I'll
Oh,
give
no,
you my,
it's
I'll give you
preserved.
my
Can't put it on our
my
farm.
zoning
It's not going on
story.
my farm.
Right, Jill said it.
Nobody wants zoning until the illegal business hires the, the convict or the tier 3 sex offender, and that's right next to their residence, and then all those residents call you on the phone, and we had that happen.
Mm.
So, yeah, nobody wants zoning until the zoning problem is next to their
Occurs,
yeah.
house.
Yep.
We
Okay,
have another township getting real close to not having it too,
Yeah.
Portage,
yeah.
Paris.
Is there any other questions? So we
Guess
can
who's in a
wrap up?
hurry?
No, I just said, is there any other questions?
You wanna introduce yourself and Emily?
Yeah.
So,
My name's Jonathan Harris, I'm the director over at Portage County District Library. This is Emily, our branch manager, she manages our Randolph and Window branches.
thank you,
Yeah.
Emily.
Oh,
Emily,
sorry.
do you have
Sorry.
anything you
Sorry.
wanted to say, since we're basically hosted in your arena
Well,
here?
I just wanted to give, a brief introduction since since the topic was taxes. Just so folks know, about 5 years ago, we raised your taxes, and if you voted for that, thank you, and if you didn't vote for that, thank you anyway, because it is a thing, but you need to understand that we haven't done that since. Ours is an outside millage. It is something voted on by taxpayers, which means that that value is set at the 2021 rate. And even as your property value increases, that's what we get is that
That's
2021
it.
rate. So it's important to know that even with property values going up for the millages that people vote on, that stays the same. That's not gonna increase with your property
Set
value.
amount.
We're not subject to inside millage. We're not fully associated as a county organization. But one of the ways that we save people money is that we do work with the county. We work with the county both because they provide our taxing authority, because they appoint a number of our trustees. But we also save residents money by piggybacking off of their health care. We save our residents money because we work with the municipalities where we work. For instance, our general model that's saved taxpayer money for ages is that we have a model where the community provides the space and we provide the service, which is why we're able to have a branch over here in Randolph. We also work with the other libraries in our county, Kent Free Library and Reed Memorial, serve the Kent and Ravenna City School Districts. We work together, we have a consortium so that everybody wins, that sort of thing. And the money that we get from that levy, which is about half of our budget at this point, that goes directly back into services. That funds our bookmobile serviced areas of the county where we don't have branches. It funds our outreach to seniors. It also is providing, one thing that we're kicking off is database resources for families who homeschool, and increased work on our summer reading to work with the schools so that, you know, the kids out for the summer aren't losing out on activity. And just because the next Coffee with Commissioners isn't until July, I am gonna plug, June 6th over at Crestwood Schools, we're doing our big summer reading kickoff, so.
Nice.
But that's just a little bit about what we've been up to out here.
Well, we appreciate you,
Yeah,
both of you. Emily, it was nice to meet you today.
so we just worked with.
We'd like to thank everyone for participating. It's one of our bigger groups that we've had in attendance. And we'd like to thank Randolph Township and hope that you can all attend our second Coffee with Commissioners, which will be held at the Garrettsville Library on July 29th at 9 a.m. Don't forget, we're always available for you.
Yeah, and we have flyers both for the tree planting and, I think I passed out a bunch for the, next coffee with the commissioners. We'd love to see you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
everybody again, and Sam, thank you.
Yep, thank you.